Welcome back to Of Course You're Invited, where real friends bring real stories. And today we have brothers. Johnny K is in the building, who is the CCO at Versus and also an artist manager. And he's brought his younger brother, Nathan, with him. So I'm going to let them introduce each other.
So with me to my right, I've got Nathan K, Battersea legend, athlete, content creator, director, editor, the funniest person I know, Nathan K.
That was really nice. Thank you. And to my left is Johnny K, my older brother, my role model, now role model to many other people, and a man of many, many levels, I would say.
What is the age gap between you both?
It's 2 years,
2 years.
but I feel like we are always on the same wavelength.
I want to take it back to the very beginning, because obviously I'm assuming you grew up together.
We did.
Do you have your first memories of like the impression that you had on one another? Can you remember what you first thought? Because I know with siblings, like the dynamic can sometimes shift quite quickly.
I think it's interesting with me and Johnny, and because the brother dynamic, especially like when you see on like TV, and the typical thing is brothers are always like clashing and fighting, and I think there's only one time in my life that I've had like an actual like proper argument. I don't even know if you remember this.
I do remember.
fight
I was
with
going to
my
say the
brother.
same thing, yeah.
And I completely lost, and it was also completely my fault. And
Physical.
Yeah, it's the only one time we had an argument and it got physical.
But we were very young.
Yeah, like super.
We're
I would
talking
be
like, I don't know, 8 and 6 or something.
Yeah, I think I was 6.
Yeah.
And it was an L for me that day.
But yeah, no, we didn't clash at all. No, never have.
I think that's
Really?
the only ever clash we've ever had.
And you grew up in the same house,
Mm-hmm.
and you didn't. What was the secret sauce of that?
It's just never like that.
We're going to get deep quickly.
Yeah, for real.
But we lost our dad when we were 7. When I was 7 and he was 5.
Yeah.
And
Dynamic switch.
yeah, a big dynamic switch, and it was very much like, you've got me, I've got you. That's how we're going to survive. It's just me and you together. It was like a survival thing.
Yeah,
We connected to each other, and it's like, that's how we're going to get through this, is with each other. That wasn't like a spoken thing until much later, but that's exactly how it went down.
yeah, it's a thing, and I've only really realised this in hindsight, and when I'm getting a little bit older now, of it's always been trying to listen and understand the other person, and never trying to argue your way through it. It's, you have a point of view, and how can I understand it? It's never a problem, it's a solution. And now trying to apply that to other people and life.
Because that's the funny thing, isn't it? It's like, that's like such a model way of living that Nathan and I have been able to practice with each other for our entire lives, where there's no conflict because the other person can state their opinion and be heard. But does that mean I'm able to apply that with all my other relationships or work colleagues or relationships? Like, absolutely not. But at least to have a model for it with him.
I think it makes sense though, because you mentioned your experience of loss, and I'm really sorry to hear that, because I feel like that also is something that you can't emulate in the workplace, right? Or like in a family like structure. It's like, it's very unique to your situation and how you grew up. I wanted to ask like how you sort of navigate speaking about it so openly as well. Is it something that you've both like worked on together?
Yes and no. It's a very personal journey that no matter how close you are with someone, you deal with that by yourself. But obviously, because we are so close and we are a very tight-knit family, naturally you do go through these things together, and it is a very unique situation that we went through. So you do gel more after that. Yeah, it's a difficult one to answer that.
Yeah, in terms of being able to speak about it, it was such that it was like the defining thing of our upbringing was this like loss of our father, and the circumstances were quite complicated. And I feel like we went for a period, to be honest, where when we got a better sense of what had gone on with our dad, we like overspoke about it, to be honest. Like even I can speak for myself particularly, like I was like going on podcasts and stuff and talking about it, when like in myself I was in a very different place in my healing journey then. And I went, I think, too far in trying to cope with the hurt of that loss by just throwing it out there all the time, even publicly. I think I then went through a period where actually I just never spoke about it to anyone really, and again was going through like a different part of the grieving process. Now I'd say things are more in their right place.
Yeah, things are way more balanced now. Because I remember when I was growing up, it was, I definitely didn't really understand it. I was only 5, like, I think like 5.5. And it was a thing of like, I didn't really get it, but I knew that like, obviously something really crazy happened, something really bad. And so I'd always just tell someone, yeah, like it's bad, but I'm fine. And I think that I said that so many times, you convince yourself that you're fine, everything's good. And that has a big knock-on effect on how you deal with absolutely everything and everyone, to be honest. Because not accepting something or even allowing yourself to accept or understand something has a knock-on effect of basically not being able to do that with absolutely anything. And like, it's a big impact on empathy if you can't empathize with yourself and what's actually happened. And I think it's a massive process you have to go through to be able to actually be like, okay, yeah, this has happened. This is a really bad thing. And I'm allowed to be feeling a type of way about it.
There was one time, some of the stuff that went on before our dad died was like really hectic and really volatile. And fortunately, we were never in any sort of danger or anything.
No, we were good.
But we saw things we really shouldn't have seen at the age that we were. And I remember I got to probably, how old would I have been? Maybe like 27. So you're talking like 5 years ago. I remember I rang Nathan and was like, do you remember this thing that happened with our dad? And he was like, yeah, of course I remember that. And I was like, have you ever thought about how unbelievably not normal that was? And his first response was, nah, it's not.
Yeah.
So that, and I was like, nah.
No, actually
Deep, what happened? And we were both like, oh, shit. And then it was a bit like, yeah, we were those kids in that situation. And if we'd heard of any other child at that age being in a situation like that, you would be like, that's going to have very, very serious repercussions for how you respond to things when you're an adult. But when Nate got to about 25 and I was about 27, we started to really, truly unpack what had gone on. I think that's really good what you said. Empathise with ourselves a lot more of like, now this is actually really difficult and it's not normal at all. And we've done really well to sort of just about make it work.
Manoeuvre through it.
But this is big stuff. And like we've had professional help to like help work through that as well. It's important to say.
Yeah, for sure. Important.
I think I really relate to what you're saying, and it's just making me think about my relationship with my sibling and some of the experiences that we had. And I love what you said about it's a personal journey and you have to sort of like reckon with yourself first, because like that relationship you have with you and that the attachments that you form at that such an early age it just spills out completely in adulthood. And it's only when you're able to like sort of take a step back and have a perspective on like it's sort of like a family tree of like wounds and you're like, oh, okay, cool.
No, definitely.
That's why I'm
exactly right.
Right? And you're like, okay, that's why I'm behaving like that. Who sort of initiated the support first? Were you older? Were you someone that you're like, okay, I recognize that this thing happened to both of us and like we probably should like, do you know what I mean, tackle it? Because I think with me and my sibling, I remember calling my sibling and I was just like, you know what? We should probably speak about this thing that was very monumental. And you might think it hasn't had an effect, but I can kind of see like, you know what I mean? There's some behaviours here.
It wasn't so straightforward as that because in very different ways, the repercussions of what went on when we were kids reared their heads massively when we both got to a certain age through our own behaviour. Mine, as people know who follow me, was like drugs and alcohol myself, which is how our father died. Ultimately, it was drugs. And I went down my own path with substance abuse. So it was like very, and you know, anyone from the outside looking at it, I think it's very obvious, like this person lost their father to this thing when they were kids, and now that pattern has been repeated in them. So it's quite straightforward, but that's such like a personal thing to have to battle and overcome. And that was kind of with me, and with Nate, it was different. The impact it had on him, he can say how it affected him.
Okay, I see that, and it's like you, as you said, it's like an individual journey, and then you both sort of like reconciled with it as individuals, and you've come together after that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really when Johnny went to rehab. Like we spoke about this only recently the other day about how before Johnny went to rehab, now in hindsight, I'm a big believer of like it's very difficult to know where you're going before you know where you've come from.
Oh, yeah.
And before I found out this information of like the actual facts of how our father died, because up until I was 25, I heard a million things, crazy stories of how this happened, which made me a very disjointed person, a very confused person of like, don't really know where I'm going or what's happened. And when Johnny went to rehab and he kind of put things together and we had a phone call, I was in Brighton at the time. I remember walking down the street and he's called me and he was like, I think this has happened. And I was like, you know what? Makes so much sense. I had the same feeling. And it was like a switch happened and suddenly from there, it was like I can now start to build on actually understanding what's happened from such a long time ago, 20 years ago. And now, from now, I can actually start building the person I am today.
I think it's so powerful. It's like the idea of connection and someone else's like ability to work on their relationship with themselves, and having a knock-on effect, and like then having support for you, and then it's like building a wall, right? You put one brick down, and then it's like, oh, suddenly it's built. And it really reminds me of. I keep thinking about my sibling, because we were made homeless and we were evicted, and that's something that I've always felt like very strongly about. And I was like, we need to talk about this, and they just weren't ready. But when I went to therapy and I sort of was unpacking everything that was happening, and we had a conversation about it, they were then able to be like, you know what, I think this is why I'm afraid of like abandonment and this kind of thing. And then we sort of became much closer because we understood where we were coming from. So I just want to say I really appreciate you being so open and transparent about that. And for me, I can see it really clearly of like how important it is to have someone who at least mirrors your experience, if not the same one. Because I'm sure like through that experience, you just know yourself better, right? And like you're able then to be and show up better as brothers.
Yeah. It would not have been possible to navigate without having a brother in the situation.
Facts, absolutely.
There's just no way. It would have been too much. I don't know what would have happened, to be honest, had we not had each other to get through
definitely.
it with. It was like such like a rooting foundation or it still is, of my whole life, really. But when I think back to the kids that had to get through that, I just don't see how either of us could have made it work without each other.
Yeah, it's weird, like, on a more like lighter note, everything that's happened obviously is really, really bad, but also I wouldn't change it. And the most negative thing that's happened in my life has actually turned out to be the most defining factor, and something that has actually made me something that I'm really proud of now, and something I'm really proud of for him, and like proud of my family for, and something that 99% of people won't be able to relate to. And it's such a bad thing, but it's made such a good outcome. Like, so many things great has come off the back of that. And there's a massive silver lining in what's happened. It definitely wasn't in vain.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, we've got a sister as well who we share our father with, but not our mum. And she said to me once, this isn't how it was meant to work out for us. And she's just so right. Yeah, you look at where we are and what we've got going on now. You look at the stability of our mum as well and stuff, like, after such like a tragic loss. And this isn't how things were meant to work out. But to get here, I had to work through so much effery.
Yeah. Effery.
I thought that was too strong a swear word to actually say.
Yeah, it's that resilience, right? Like, what is like true resilience, and what does it actually like mean? I think people have this conception that like resilience is needing to like plow through and just keep going, but actually sometimes resilience is pausing and having a look at what you actually need as opposed to want. Sometimes you just want to like have a blinker on and be like, okay, let's go. I was reading a book called Surviving the 21st Century, and Noam Chomsky talks about like this concept of resilience. And I was like, oh my God, words. Sometimes you do have to just sit down and pause. From childhood, you briefly touched on like your first impressions, the loss that you both shared. Once you I guess entered into adulthood, how did things start to change as you were both like, you know, going into your careers? Were you able to maintain the closeness of your relationship?
The closeness has never faltered at any point.
It's the same.
It's been the same from as soon as he was brought into our home from the hospital till this very day today when we sat next to each other. There's never been any. I would say the only time was when I was right at the end of my first phase of my like addiction getting really bad, when I was about to go to rehab, but we didn't know it yet. There was tension, because he was like knew things were going really badly for me, and I was trying to help me, but like I just wasn't really in a position to be helped. But even that wasn't really like any sort of like.
We're not beefing each other. It was just I was okay for my brother, and he was going through something, and that's kind of all really that was. But in terms of us ever clashing like that, like it's...
Or not even clashing, just drifting apart.
Drifting, there's not.
It just doesn't happen. But
we've got too many similar interests that we like.
That's the thing, is because we were obviously... I can't speak for other siblings, but my experience of having a brother that I was raised alongside is we were obviously just raised in the exact same environment. So all of our interests are just exactly the same. We had the same upbringing. So how could we not?
Yeah,
It's not always
literally.
like that, I'm telling you.
I know,
it's
yeah,
not.
I know.
We were best friends
Yeah, I was gonna say this,
with two brothers that lived below us in our block of flats
Yeah.
called Dale and Brian. Shout out to them.
Yeah, big up.
And the way that these two used to clash.
Every day was beef. Straight
Mr.
scrapping.
Shushu, which
Mr.
was where
Shushu,
the
yeah.
older brother took off his football boot and would chase after the younger brother with his football
What do you
boot.
mean, Mr. Shushu?
That's what we called his shoe. You take it off and it's Mr. Shushu. You're going to get battered by Mr. Shushu.
Oh my-
And this happened every single day.
We'd
Was
go
this
home.
embarrassing?
Yeah.
And we'd go home to our flat after, and we would literally be like, "What's the deal with that?"
And yeah, for real, 'cause like every day we would go to the park and like play football, and I'll be on the brother of one brother's team, and then you'd be on the other brother's team. So we'll be opponents, but like most days we'll be halfway through like a football match, and then Mr. Shushu would come, and then we would just both end up standing in the field because them two had chased after each other trying to beat each up, and then we'd just be us two.
But to answer your actual question, which was like as we started our careers, we also went on such a similar journey where I think both of us are very privileged that we work in like the exact areas that we want to
facts.
now. Like we never could have dreamed genuinely that things have turned out the way that they have. But we started our careers like really both of us like really far away from that. Like my first job was in recruitment when I was 21. You started your first job at a similar time actually because you didn't go uni, did you?
No, yeah, I was working, doing some like 100% commission marketing job. You know when you go to the hood and there's people like trying to like sell you Wi-Fi outside Morrison's.
yeah,
I was one
yeah.
of them annoying dons.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, I did that job for like a year.
You were like, you dropped something, miss.
No, I didn't do
Oh.
that. I had my pattern
Okay,
and
okay.
it worked. But yeah, like I look back and I'm like, good Lord, I don't know how I did that. But still, we got through it and like somehow built building blocks to get to what we're doing now. And, like,
Yeah, and even I remember my first day working in recruitment, we met up for lunch. And that, there's that
Oh, yeah, I
picture of
remember,
us
yeah,
in the
that photo
pub,
of us,
both
yeah.
wearing suits,
Yeah, I remember
both with a pint. But the thing that was
Oh, my
so
days.
mad, and I think the thing that's allowed us to have like relative success, is even then, like working in recruitment, for me, that's not what I was put on this planet to do. He was not put on this planet to like sell internet
Wi-Fi.
to poor people.
yeah, literally.
But on that day, on my first day working in recruitment, when I was 21 and he was 19, in a pub at that lunchtime, we felt like we'd made it. For us, we were like,
Gosh, it
for
was
us
such a
both
big
to have
achievement.
like full time paid jobs that we were able to start to support ourselves. We felt like we had won then, and I feel like that idea. I don't know if you've heard that like. The way to guarantee that you'll get more of whatever you want is to be happy for what you have right now. And I don't know what it is about the way we were raised with each other, but at every single stage, even though we have always had a sense that there was more on the cards for us, we've been so unbelievably grateful for where we've got to, even when that place was being on 20 grand flat for me. That's the salary I was on in recruitment. And I don't know what you would have been making.
I was on 100% commission.
100% commission. But
Yeah.
still, it was like, we made
Yeah.
it. Yeah. And the same phone conversations we'd have had that day, we still had earlier today.
Literally, like any win of like of importance to you is a straight phone call. Actually, no, it's I know something big's coming because I'll get a WhatsApp just saying Nathan.
Yeah, and I get one just saying Johnny.
I'm like, oh shit, I need to call him, and then
Yeah.
it'll be like, this is happening. I'm like, oh my days.
And I think that's so hard to
nice.
find. There's like so much chat these days around like evil eye and don't tell
Yeah,
people your
yeah.
plans and don't tell people your wins before they've come into fruition. And I've had personal experience. I've made the mistake of telling people I consider to be close friends,
yeah.
positive news. And the response you get from people, it absolutely
neggy.
it spins you.
Yeah.
Like to have one person in my life where I know there's not even 0.0001% of that. And it is a space where it will be nothing but appreciation and encouragement.
Yeah, it's a celebration.
It's an absolute cheat code.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to find, and I've had it my whole life.
What a blessing.
Yeah, for real.
That's amazing. I feel like it is a cheat. That's exactly what it is. It's a cheat code. It's such a safe space, and the fact that it's always been like that, and you can lean on each other, I don't know if you're religious, but I'm just like, that's just a blessing from God.
Definitely a blessing.
Yes, it is.
And Johnny, you're the older brother. When did you realize that Nathan, you're becoming like he was becoming his own man? Like he's starting to grow up, and you're like, oh snap.
At different stages, to be honest. There was lots and lots of different stages of it. Like when Nathan was young, well, I guess still now, to be honest, this guy like is an incredible athlete. Like it was literally like having a child prodigy for a younger brother. Like when he would have his sports days, I would take our dad's like SLR camera, and then we did it in this like racing track in Battersea Park. Still there now. The running track in Battersea Park is where we had our sports days when we were in primary school. And I would just walk across the like middle of the track to the other side, because I knew that by the time I got there, he would be so far ahead of everyone racing that he would be able to stop, and I'll be able to get on my knee, take pictures of him, and then he could carry on running and still win the race. And then that amazing athletic ability then evolved into football. But this is the thing, the whole thing with him and football, it was completely driven by me, basically. Because like football was like my great love. But I'm not that good at football. Just naturally, like when we were really young, I was pretty good. But as soon as I started growing, for whatever reason, I just wasn't able to maintain it. Whereas I could see in him that there was like a real player. So all we did was play football all day, every day. And if Dale and Ryan weren't around, we'd just go out on our own and do like drills and stuff. Because even at that age, because I was so obsessed with football, I could see he's got a chance he could be a professional football player. And with his athletic ability as well, I was like, it could really be on for him. And he had a trial at Chelsea, didn't get in, but then trialed at Tottenham and played for Tottenham. But the moment I knew that he was becoming his own person was actually when he walked away from Tottenham. Because I was like, to me, it was like, but you've made it. You're playing academy football. Just stick at this. You're good enough. You can go and you'll be able to play in the Premier League. Like, it was so obvious. But I was like, but that's my dream.
Yeah, and I always say, like, I've definitely had somewhat of athletic ability, but being able to achieve that level was very much down to the fact that Johnny was, like, we were running drills every day. And if it wasn't there, I was in the park playing. I just loved playing football in the park. And it's one of them things in the principle of like, if you just do something a lot, you get really good at it. And so like, I'm not like some crazy person. I just did it better. If you do absolutely anything a lot, you get really good at it. And Battersea Park was our garden. Like, it was literally across the road. And so I was in there every day just doing it, just running drills. And then obviously by the time it come to doing trials and whatnot, I was just playing a lot more than anyone else. So naturally, that's what happened. It's not some like crazy like thing to understand. Like just
but you probably you had
something.
Yeah.
Something,
Come
but
on.
like
What you had was the athletic ability, but then what you got through the repetition was the ability to actually play.
that's it. Yeah, it's a good way of putting it.
And was that like basically you coming in like manager style and being like, let's actually work on this?
Yeah, and I don't know where I got this idea from that we could make this happen, but I was really sure in it. And like the first time I ever remember crying with happiness was when he played his first game for Tottenham, and it was at Arsenal's training ground. It was like a North London derby, but under what age group was it? What age group you made your debut?
I don't even remember.
I don't remember either.
It was like 14 or something.
Yeah, so if you were 14, no.
It wasn't 14.
No, because then I would have been 16. You would have probably been
Younger,
like 11.
11.
And I was like 13. And I was stood in like the Arsenal clubhouse, and the two teams walked out in their tracksuits, and I was like, we did it.
Yeah,
We actually did it. I can't believe it.
True,
We actually did it. And it was an amazing model of like, even as kids, me and you, we can just try and do something. Almost impossible, really, to just decide. When we started, I would have been like 9. He would have been like 7. Now we're going to train you up to play like academy football, where like everyone wants to play academy football. Only like 0.0001% of kids are able to do it, and we together we were able to do it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's actually a mad thing to think about, where the power of actually being like, you're going to do something and fully believing that and living in that and almost living in the future of like, it's going to happen and we're just like building up to it. The power of actually manifesting what's going to happen is incredible, and it's something that we've been doing for a long time, but understanding it more and more, definitely more recently, of like the step that I'm about to take, I've already taken it basically. And it's a weird headspace, but like an amazing thing, like hindsight, but also already knowing that this is my path. But also having said that, that's something I truly believe in, is that the reason why we're doing what we're doing is when you like read self-help books, actually, a lot of the time they're like, you have to know that you're going to be going to this place, and you have to fully envision that. But something with us is that like, I've just tried my best in absolutely everything, and knowing that like things are going to be really good in the next step, whatever it's going to be in, and just having faith in that and knowing that like wherever it's going to be really good. And the next step is always just a really good thing, and you just build on that, and you build and you build and you build, and it doesn't have to be in a certain direction. And I think some people get too fixated on like, you have to end up at that goal, and I have to be in this person, and you end up blocking your blessings of what you're actually meant to be doing. Like the football situation, like I could have got fixated on this, and it could have actually sent me in a spiral, because that just wasn't my path. And it's just about figuring out and being open to the fact of like, the person you think you are, you're actually probably not. In like a year's time, hopefully you're actually going to be thinking something very different.
I think there's like so much strength in that. I think people get very, myself included, like debilitated in the space of not knowing, because you're like, okay, if I know, then I can take a step forward, but I don't know, so where do I go? Left, right, forwards, backwards? Like but you don't need to know. You just need to take the step. It's like action.
The beauty is in not knowing and finding out. For sure.
Who installed this like mindset into you both? Was it just something that was it like you just born with it?
Nah, our mum was very encouraging. This can have a negative effect, and I'm sure it has in some ways for us. But our mum was always, I think because what happened with our dad was just fully on, you both can just do whatever you want. The possibilities for you are limitless. I remember, I told this story on TikTok once. I said to my mum after primary school one day, that they talked to us for the first time ever in primary school just about careers and stuff. And it really got me thinking. When my mum picked me up from school that day, I must have been no older than 10. I said to her, Mum, I've decided when I'm older, as long as I can have a wife, 2 children, and earn £50,000 a year, I'll be happy. And my mum said, forget 50,000. You will be earning, and she said a number that to most people, I mean, even for me at that age, it sounded completely impossible. It's still significantly more than what I make now. But she was always on this idea of like, never limit your beliefs. Never limit your beliefs. Because our mum, I mean, we're so privileged to have been raised by the mum that we have. Like, you know, she moved to London at 17 years old for like some government job in Middlesbrough. Came down, worked for the government for 4 years, then became like a TV producer, like an exec at the BBC. Then obviously lost her husband, and things that after that were like really tough for us. But we never knew. Like, we only know this as adults, that like after our father passed, because he didn't leave any sort of like inheritance, there was no life insurance,
He
nothing.
left debt is what he left.
He left debt. Things were like really tight for us financially. We had no idea.
Yeah.
We had literally no idea. There was no sense. She did an amazing job of, no, this is your setup, this is your environment, and this is going to give you an opportunity to like go on and do really great things, even greater than what I've done. And I think because of that, we've never been restricted much by like a lack of self-belief. In individual moments, of course, I'm a human being. I do have huge self-doubt and huge anxiety, of course, but the bigger picture, like, no. The flip side of that is, it's not actually that healthy to just be told that everything's good, especially in a situation where things things aren't that good when I look back. And actually this is really complicated, and actually something really difficult went on. And I think we lost a little bit of that, but overall, I think it was the right thing to do. It meant we had to pick up the pieces a bit as we got older, which is fine. But the positive side of it is the belief thing, I think.
Definitely. In the grand scheme of things, like, it's an excellent finish.
It set like the foundation for you. I wondered, within your individual like friendship groups, do you become the person who sort of like instills that mentality in others?
In my friendship group, definitely, yeah. Most definitely. I only had a conversation with someone yesterday where we were talking about how we go on walks at the end of the year and talk about what we want for the next year. And they told me their goals for the next year. And I was like, that is amazing. But like, there's nothing in there that's like obscene. Everything in there is you're like very likely going to do. That you need to bump that up to something that's like pretty much seems out of your grasp. And then you go for that thing, not the thing I'm like, I'm going to drink more water.
You're there to like, be like, okay, that's great, but how can we shoot to the stars?
Yeah, for real.
And you have this tradition of like a walk.
Yeah, we've only done this like for the last few years.
But yeah, the tradition used to be, speaking very transparently, that like on Christmas Eve when our mum and her partner would like go to the church for midnight mass, we'd smoke a zubi and and have a beer. But yeah, and then
Anymore.
we've outgrown that one.
Now you're doing a walk.
And now we go for a walk to like really talk about things, because it's the amazing thing about manifesting your dreams is once you have just that little bit of evidence from success, from like real, you find a little bit of success, suddenly the possibilities seem really endless. For us, it like suddenly removed that fear of like, is it okay to actually admit the things that we really want? We don't get scared to admit the things we really want anymore. But I think when you are at that point, when you have big dreams and you haven't really touched them much, it can be quite scary. It can be quite daunting to even talk about them. I don't know who Nathan's talking about with his friends. It makes total sense. I used to do that. My goals were all drink more water, exercise more, clean out my diet, and some of that stuff still appears on my like goals at the start of a year.
Of course.
But I've been able to take those shackles off to really go like, nah, let's paint a best case scenario picture. What does that look like? What's that thing that I can aim towards? But I struggled to do that when I hadn't really done anything, to be honest.
And in this walk, where you're sharing each other's, you know, your goals, and I'm assuming you're supporting each other, like validating what you're saying, do you ever sort of like step back and have a segment where you're like, look how far we've come as well? Like, do you know what I mean?
We do that all
the time.
Yeah.
We do that like multiple times a week. We literally are
literally
on the phone to each other saying, can you believe that this is what our life looks like? That's what I'm talking about, that gratitude thing of like the way to get more is to be happy with what you've got. And it's like having that space with someone. And I'm so lucky I just have a brother who's that person for me, where I can call him up just to say, nothing's even happened.
Yeah.
Do you remember back in the day when we used to talk about da-da-da-da-da, and now da-da-da-da-da-da?
It's a mad thing, yeah.
And then he'll just be like, it's so mad. It's such a mad thing. Da-da-da-da-da. And that's it. And I'll be like, cool, I'll shout you later. That's it.
Your bromance is like, do you know what I mean? You can feel it, that the energy, like you guys are just connected. Nathan, we've spoken about a lot and how much you guys have supported each other. What is the biggest thing that you feel like Johnny has taught you?
I think as of late, of course, like the person that Johnny's become, as I said earlier, has become a role model for so many people. And Johnny's always really been like that, where it's like, if you actually stick your mind to something, that you'll actually achieve it. I'd like to beyond your wildest dreams. And he's always kind of been that person that, like, I could say the obvious thing of like, he's my role model, he's my best pal, whatever. But he's definitely always been someone who's looks to achieve something and he goes and does it. And I think massively, obviously, from my mum, but definitely from my brother, for sure, that obviously after my dad passed, like, he's the oldest brother. And so he obviously stepped into that role of just like, I don't know, he's pulled up his socks. And from then, he's just been the person of like, if I want to do something, I'm gonna find a way and go and pattern it. Like, from getting his job at Boiler Room without any experience, like trying to find, like, even myself, I tried to find a way into the industry I work in for so long, and for him to go for such a big fish in the pond, that I know Boiler Room going through their things in a moment, but to be able to actually find a path to actually be like, no, I deserve this and I'm going to show you it, and then just stepping up and actually proving it and doing that for himself and for the people around him, and especially now for doing it for the people around him, is something that I definitely tried to instill more into my life. Johnny is one of the most selfless people that I know, because he's always trying to help someone. And I think, I always say that if everyone could live with the same mindset of Johnny, of just like trying to help your neighbor and just being open and honest about what your intentions are and how you're feeling, the world would just be a better place. And I have that conversation quite a lot.
I think that I've been very lucky in the last year that I've had access for the first time more consistently with like real serious, like ultra high net worth individuals, people that own football clubs, people that are we know football players. And I think one of the most consistent, surprising things you find with the most successful people is that they are the most selfless. And I know that runs so against the grain of what people think about what people with money are like. But having, for the first time in the last year or two, met more of those people than ever, they will do more than anyone else to help you, because they know, and for some of them, they understand it on a spiritual level, and I view it from like a spiritual level. Others only understand it on a practical level, that these things will sort of come back round, because when that person gets into their own position, they'll then be potentially be in a position to bring you in on opportunities. But for me, it's deeper than that. That the real, and there's so many great thinkers who know a lot more about this than me, who've written about this, who speak about this. But the great solution to like the human affliction is just helping other people. And I do it because I think it's the right thing to do, but it's not totally selfless. I have had so many results that to move my own life forwards, the simplest way of doing it is by helping the next person.
It's in the 4 agreements, isn't it? That the book, it's like one of the first agreements in that book.
It's in every Rules of Wealth, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Psychology of Money. Any of these get rich books you read, you will find this principle in there, which is to give even when you don't have to give. And you will receive in abundance. It's obviously in the Bible too. It is everywhere. But in this scarcity mindset that a lot of us have, and I used to have, it's obviously so difficult to get your head around that, especially when people have a perception of the world that everyone is out there for themselves. That's a very negative view. It's not my experience of the world, is that people are actually out there to help. I help because I am helped.
I mean, it makes complete sense. Also, it's like the energy that you're sending out, right? It's just... It's you're reflecting off, it's coming back to you, and it you're elevating like continuously. It's like it's quick maths.
Quick maths. It makes total sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
To me, it makes total sense.
I think once you experience like a little percentage of that, it allows you then to like move more easily into that space. As you said, with like anything, I guess you're like, oh, okay, like this is how things can work for me. Johnny, I wanted to ask you, what is one thing that Nathan wouldn't expect you to say about him, about your brotherhood, about your relationship, or maybe something that he doesn't realize about himself?
I think that the thing that Nathan, I think, has proved to me, not just once, like multiple times, is the capacity for people to change. I mean, depending on who you ask, some people will say to you, people don't change. It's like classic in like relationship dynamics where someone's like really unhappy with their partner. They go to their friends and their friends will say, generally people don't change. So don't wait for this person to change, you should leave them. In some context, that's actually true.
Yeah.
And I think the truth is it takes a lot of pain for people to actually change, but it does happen. And like when Nathan was, he explained it earlier, when he was getting to like 23, I was like, this kid is not going to make it. The decisions he was making were insane.
A very different person.
Some of the things he had me doing to support some of the decisions he was making were insane. I don't know whether I've ever told you this, but even amongst like my core circle, like my really good friends, like Lewis, Jordan, like them lot, we would talk and we would worry. Like, where's Nathan going to end up?
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised.
What? Like, because what is he doing? Because we'd have parties and you'd come and...
Yeah, I was around mad guys.
Yeah, mad people doing mad things. And it was a bit like, this doesn't... Everyone knows this, that living like this, it doesn't end well. But like he said, and I only recently heard him say this for the first time, that finding out what really went on with our dad around his death allowed him to put things into their right place internally. I think that having someone so close to you, just changing right in front of your eyes, it's so inspiring. Because I had to change, like him actually. We in the end, at the same time, we both had no choice. We had to change.
Yeah, it was make or break.
It was make or break. He was going to end up with the way people end up, who do the things that do those things, and I was going to end up the way that people end up doing the things that I was doing. It was different but related. But it was so much easier having someone changing right next to me. Even though I didn't quite realise it was going on, the person I speak to the most was also right in front of my eyes, day by day, going through their own period of change, and I think that it allowed me to change.
Yeah, I think off the back of that, a big reason for what we're doing now and with the people that we are is definitely because it's like having a running buddy, like, oh, like, you switched up a gear, like, you're doing this, you're becoming a better person, like, oh, you've upped the ante of, like, either whether it's fitness, your wealth, like, the people you're around, like, oh, okay, like, we're doing that, okay, like, time to up it a level. And it's always been like that, going back to back of, like, we're both on this journey, and it's not a competition of thing, like, who can do it the best, who can do it the most. It's just like, if you can do it, I can do it too.
I love you said running body, because immediately I thought of like a relay race, but instead of like one person in front of you, you're actually doing the relay together.
Yeah,
And
literally.
you're passing the baton next to each other, you know, because it's not like someone's ahead. It's just like you're in it together. And it reminds me a lot of my mom, because she always says, when the student is ready, the master will appear.
That's so true.
Right?
That's so true. That's
and then
big
she's
facts.
like, when the student is truly ready, the master will disappear, because the lesson is learned. And I'm like, oof, mom, you really spat. Like,
Wow, yeah.
She really ate with that. And and I love what you touched on about like, when people change, and it's like really inspiring. And I think my mom came to mind as well. She's always had very like just problematic views on like race that were rooted with an abusive partner who was my dad. So I think there was a lot of issues with race when we would speak about it with her, and I was like, no. Well, my sibling was like, Mom's not going to change, just leave it. And I was like, nah. I would send her books. She lives in Iceland, and I'll send her books, and I would be like, you know what I mean? Like, please, Mom, read this. And we'll be warring. And there's been lots of moments when we didn't speak. In the last, I would say, 2 years, transformation has been amazing. Like, she's become very spiritual. She's called me up and, you know, she's apologized. She's been like, I really understand why I had certain views about, you know, blackness and race. And she's like, I just want to have a better conversation about it with you. Sometimes she'll send me stuff and she's like, oh my God, they're so racist. And I'm like, yeah, Mom, I'm like, yeah, call them out. Do you know what I mean? And I think seeing that transformation has also allowed me to extend empathy to others, right? And I think that's what you were touching on, because now seeing my mom, I'm like, you know what? If my mom can switch up, then anyone can switch up. And the transformation is amazing. And it allows you to like believe in like the humanity again, right? And when you see it so close like to you, it gives you a bit more confidence.
It really does, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're wrapping up, and we're getting to a section which I call gratitude. So I want to ask you both, what is one thing that you want to thank your brother for? You can take a moment to think about it. It could be something for now, it could be something from way back, but just one thing that you actually just want to say thank you to each other.
Thank you for being an example of change. And the person that Johnny was, the person you are today, is such an inspiring thing for so many people. And to see how much of a different person that you are. Obviously, I couldn't see it before because I was too close to the situation. But having seen it in hindsight, it is the most amazing and beautiful thing to have seen the journey that Johnny has had. I have a front row seat to this journey. Probably not a person in the world, I would say, has seen this journey closer than I have. And it's just been an amazing thing to see and super inspiring. And the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing is because of you, and I'll always be grateful for that.
I just want to thank you for being there so consistently. Like always taking my calls. I was just thinking about earlier about like how much we call each other, and I know because of something you said recently that I can just guarantee there are other people who are calling your phone and you just don't answer it, and you always take my calls, and you're always there and you always respond, and I think it's so hard to find someone like that in your life, and I think that I do take it for granted a little bit. Because obviously it's what we've always done.
Yeah, for sure.
But I've been talking about it today has made me feel a lot of gratitude for that. So thank you.
Yeah, likewise, definitely.
Picking up the calls that's a big one.
It definitely is.
That's a real big one. You're lucky. I don't know who I can name. No one. I don't know if anyone is picking up my calls all the time. And the last question, or I'll say it's like a game. I'm going to ask you to think about one word that just comes to mind, and I'm going to count down to 3, and you're both going to say the word at the same time. And we're going to hope that it's the same word, if not something very similar. You can't obviously...
Any word?
Any word. It could be any words.
You know what? There's no more cue. We just say the next word.
Yeah, I'm just going to go 3, 2, 1, and then you're just going to have to say it. And you can't... No eye contact, please. Don't even... All right. 3, 2, 1.
Fish.
Podcast. Oh, I should have said fish. Damn.
What is that an inside joke?
Yes.
That's also a lifestyle.
Okay, fish. Tuna. Listen, I just want to thank you both for coming on and for being so honest and open. And I feel like I want to be one of your siblings. I'm like wow, this is so cool. I want someone to answer my calls. No, honestly, I do want to be adopted by you both. I know that probably won't happen.
No, we can make it happen.
But hey.
When the cameras are off.
Okay, I'm going to get adopted. No, I just want to say thank you. It's been really lovely. And I feel like your relationship is just really special. And it's been like a privilege to see it firsthand and share some of those moments with you. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you for having us on.
Thank you for having us.
Like
Yeah,
we said,
for
we've
real.
never done anything like this before, and that's a crazy thing to do. It's cool though.
Definitely, yeah. I'm really grateful that we did this.